Have a clean shot, Schmidt.
Then don't take the shot.
Maybe I want to take a dirty shot. Kind of like the dirty shot you took on my daughter.
And take a dirty shot at your daughter, okay?
So what's the delay with 23 Jump Street, despite Channing Tatum's recent comments giving us a bit of hope? Well, just like with any big decision, there are two sides to every story. We've got 5 reasons why 23 Jump Street should definitely happen, and 5 reasons why it might not. Plus, there's the whole Jump Street and Men in Black crossover to consider. Here's everything we know about it. Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum's 21 Jump Street reboot had every reason to flop, and the movie itself even points that out. It was a remake of an old TV show, which often doesn't work out, especially one that's barely remembered by today's audiences. But despite these odds, the film managed to mix sharp meta-commentary with genuine affection for its characters, turning it into one of the most beloved comedies in recent years. The success led to a sequel, 22 Jump Street, which was even more successful, sparking talks of a third installment. Yet here we are 5 years later, and 23 Jump Street still hasn't hit the screen. So what's the holdup? Channing Tatum's recent comments have given us a bit of hope. He opened up about the potential for 23 Jump Street and the challenges of getting it off the ground. Speaking to comicbook.com, Tatum reflected on the script, which he called the best he's ever read for a third movie. Despite the script's potential, studio politics and decision-making have kept the project on hold. Tatum and Jonah Hill are both eager to make it happen, but it's been a tough road. Here's what Tatum had to say. "There is a project that was written, and it's still the best script that I've ever read for a third movie. It's just a lot of bureaucracy, kind of above-the-line stuff. It's really hard to get it made, and we've been trying to get it done. You know what? I'm going to put some good juju out there, and I'm going to say I would love to see 23 Jump Street. I would love to do it with Jonah, and Jonah I know wants to do it. We would love to just get to go play again." Now let's dive into the debate. 5 reasons 23 Jump Street should definitely get made, and 5 reasons why it might not be such a great idea. Plus, we'll touch on the Men in Black crossover that's still fresh in our minds. Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum make an incredible on-screen duo. Their chemistry in the first 2 Jump Street movies was undeniable, with their shared enthusiasm and comedic energy truly lighting up the screen. Their collaborations have extended beyond Jump Street. They've also worked together in the Coen brothers' Hail Caesar and lent their voices to the Lego Movie franchise. Hill even helped Tatum snag a cameo in This Is the End. Despite their impressive track record, they haven't starred together since 22 Jump Street, making a potential 23 Jump Street a perfect opportunity to reunite them on screen. The end credits of 22 Jump Street might have set a high bar for what could come next. They featured hilarious fake posters and teasers for sequels set in all sorts of outrageous locations, from medical schools to firemen's schools, and even spin-off media like board games and action figures. This comedic montage, while funny, also put a lot of pressure on any potential follow-up, as it seemed to joke about the franchise selling out. However, this setup could actually be a blessing in disguise. Instead of letting it deflate the potential for 23 Jump Street, the film could take that meta-commentary even further. Imagine Schmidt and Jenko becoming self-aware, recognizing they're stuck in a movie franchise loop, and even dealing with merchandise and video games based on their adventures. While the series has flirted with these kinds of fourth-wall jokes, going all in like Deadpool could be a fresh and exciting direction for the third installment. On the flip side, too much time has passed since 22 Jump Street hit theaters. Released in 2014, it capitalized on the success of the original 21 Jump Street from 2012. But now, with nearly a decade gone by, the momentum has waned. While a new Jump Street movie would still draw interest, the box office numbers might not match the heights of the previous films, especially if the third installment had come out closer to 2016. A third Jump Street could dive into the satire of threequels, picking up where 22 Jump Street left off with its commentary on sequels. The sequel made fun of how doing the same thing again usually ends up worse. Now, a threequel would be a whole different ballgame, facing the notorious challenge of wrapping up a trilogy. Imagine Nick Offerman's character delivering a monologue about how pulling off a successful sequel was a fluke, and hitting it out of the park a third time is even tougher because everyone's expecting closure. As for Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, their careers have shifted significantly since the first Jump Street. Back in 2012, Hill was at the top of his comedy game, and Tatum was emerging as a versatile leading man with great comedic talent. Fast forward to now, and their careers have moved on. Tatum is gearing up to direct his first film, while Hill has ventured into more dramatic roles and directing. Their transition from the Jump Street franchise reflects their evolving careers. A straight sequel to 22 Jump Street might be a better choice than the rumored Jump Street and Men in Black crossover. The crossover idea was leaked after the Guardians of Peace hack and quickly shelved. Given the mixed reactions and confusion from fans, sticking with a sequel that builds on the Jump Street franchise's meta-humor seems like a safer bet. Adding to the complexity, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, the creative minds behind the first two Jump Street movies, have signed a first-look deal with Universal. With their focus now shifted, they might not be available to direct another Jump Street film. If a sequel does happen, it might lack their signature touch, with someone else taking the reins. Also, it would be great to see more of Captain Dixon. Ice Cube, known for his impressive rap career, has shown he's fantastic at comedy, especially in his role as Captain Dixon. His extended rants and sharp humor were highlights in the previous films, and seeing him reprise this role would be a real treat. Finally, making a third Jump Street could risk turning the franchise into exactly what it once critiqued: Hollywood's tendency to recycle familiar ideas. The first two films cleverly mocked reviving old properties and the sequel phenomenon, and a third installment might end up embodying those same critiques. Deep down, we know the first two movies work as a complete package, so a third could potentially undermine what made the franchise so special. And last but not least, let's talk about the Jump Street and Men in Black crossover, whether it's a brilliant idea or not. This crossover would have been an unexpected yet hilarious blend of two unique franchises. Both sets of protagonists are unconventional investigators who don't fit the traditional detective mold, making the idea of their collaboration even more entertaining. Even though Jump Street and Men in Black come from slightly different eras, their humor and style would complement each other perfectly in one film. I still find both comedies incredibly funny, and it's tough to imagine that they wouldn't shine together on screen. The Jump Street movies and Men in Black do share some comedic elements, but their contrasting settings could have made for an even funnier mix. Imagine Schmidt and Jenko, with their more amateurish approach, going up against aliens alongside seasoned pros like Agent J and Agent K. It's a recipe for comedy gold, and the fact that the crossover was canceled makes it all the more disappointing. Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum's chemistry seems to work in any scenario, and pairing them with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones would have been a match made in comedy heaven. The dynamic between the four of them could have led to one of the funniest modern comedies. With Agent J and Agent K being iconic characters, they deserved a chance to team up with the Jump Street duo for a truly unique and entertaining cinematic experience.